My next one, John, I couldn't talk about Marvel in the MCU without talking about my favorite MCU
Martian.
movie. And we are going to remove the art from the artist because the artist sucks. I'm just going to say that now. But my favorite MCU movie is and will always be The Avengers.
War has started. And we are hopelessly outgunned.
Director Fury, I think it's time.
You're here with a mission, sir? Trying to get me back in the world?
Trying to save it.
Doctor, we need you to come in.
What if I say no?
I'll persuade you.
What are you asking me to do?
It's called the Avengers Initiative.
I thought I didn't qualify.
Da 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 da.
Yes, I recognize Joss Whedon sucks. All right, okay. We'll do that up top, okay? But this movie, once again, it doesn't because I mean, we have just to put you in its place. 2011, 2010, 2011. Nothing like this existed. This movie is a miracle because it doesn't. There's no fat. That's what makes this so brilliant. It doesn't get bogged down in trying to get into the psychology of Captain America and see how he's feeling. It doesn't bother you with what Tony Stark is thinking about or what his emotions are. It doesn't concern itself with how Bruce... No, it just has them being superheroes, doing superhero stuff. Punching Loki, punching Chitauri. It's simple, it's easy. It's a movie so awesome that you don't notice none of them are wearing earpieces.
And it can do that because it has spent the time necessary to build up to this point. So
Right.
you don't you've already had each of those characters in their movie, so you know where their headspace is at. So you don't need to do that in this.
But even then, you don't really need to watch. That's what makes this. That's what this movie and early MCU stuff is you don't need to watch those previous movies. That's what makes this movie brilliant. Yes, it helps, and yes, it enhances the experience for sure. But you could just sit down and watch this, and it's just a story about that. Those last 30 minutes are still awesome. You don't need to see Captain America 1 or Thor or Iron Man to get that when it does that panning shot of all the Avengers fighting to Chitauri, that's friggin' awesome. Like, you don't
Right.
need to have seen them, but it helps. And that's where those early MCU movies' greatest strength is. But
and
just,
then they got too big for their britches.
well, yeah, they had to escalate and became, well, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? And, yeah, back to formula. Back to formula. But, you know, for me, this movie, I mean,
back to formula.
back to formula.
Do you know how much I've sacrificed?
I do.
I built
do.
this company.
I do know what you've sacrificed, Kevin Feige. I do know. But not just, again, nothing like this. Nothing like when I first watched this in theaters. It's funny because, like, we're far enough removed from this that we get to be the old people being like, you guys don't know what it was like. But you really don't. You really, like, I'll never forget the first trailer for this. Remember the first trailer for this? It was the post-credit it was the post-credit for Captain America, I believe.
You think you're the only hero in the world? Gentlemen, you're up.
I mean, swing.
And it was that trailer with the rock and roll song that made it look like a completely different movie.
I mean, I just remember being in theaters as you have that shot panning around all of them as they're standing
Oh,
back
it's
to back,
so
and
good.
being like, "Oh my God, like I cannot believe this is happening.
Right,
Like I
right.
cannot believe this is
Ah,
happening."
I mean, the audience will have already seen that trailer because that's going to be the trailer at the beginning of the YouTube video they're currently watching. But I'll send it to you later because it was really funny. It was like, yeah, I made it look like a completely different movie. It had this weird hard rock soundtrack. It was very strange. But no, yeah, this thing was as a person who, like I said, when I was in high school, I was the guy. I'm in my room reading comic books. Like if you had told that guy, like when I watched that scene where it's not even just the one where it's panning around them, it's the one where it's like, yeah, it does that panning shot and like Iron Man swoops in and does the unibeam and it bounces off of Captain America's shield and it kills the thing, and Thor and Hulk are fighting on top of the big ones and they're like, it's all that. I'm like, it was like that scene from Ratatouille where it's the critic and he flashes back to his childhood self. Like, that was me. It was like a flashback to my childhood self sitting on a blanket as a child reading at my Spider-Man comic books, being like, man, if you had told me I'd be watching this in this context, I would have been like, there's no way that's possible. But like, even when I was a teenager, if you told me, and so as a result, that movie's always going to have that like a fond place in my heart of just like, you guys don't, and even behind the scenes when everything to make that happen, the amount of seating, I mean, you've already said this, but the amount of seating that had to go into making that, and just the absolute impact, for better or for worse, so many movies have done interconnected universes because Marvel made it possible. Not even just DC and comic books, but there's an interconnected horror storybook universe. There's the Spum. There's all kinds of different, or what you call it? Well, Kevin Smith had his, but there's all sorts of interconnected universes that exist because of Marvel. Like, they changed the game forever with this movie, for better or for worse, whether you like it or not. And that is incredible. And just, yeah, to be able to be there. And like, I remember I saved all my money and had all my scene points, and like I managed to bring all of my friends and family to watch it, and we all sat in a row and we watched it, and it was like, yeah, I just remember sitting on the edge of my seat. And so because of that feeling, it's always going to be maybe my favorite superhero movie. I mean, there's so many superhero movies I love, but it might be my favorite superhero movie. It's definitely my favorite.
Up there. It's up there.
Like, there are some of the newer ones where like, oh, this is really fun, but I've never replicated the feeling.
It's definitely top 10. The only one which I think, and it's not replicated that feeling, but like I've had like that it evoked similar feelings was Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I just
that got close.
Like,
but...
yeah, it's not trying to say anything. It's not trying to have a message or be about anything or dissect the characters.
It's just big dumb fun.
It's just the characters being like yeah, there's moments where the characters are standing around talking, but it's always in service of doing a superhero thing. It's never talking about your feelings or breaking down the characters' emotions. It's just them punching a thing. And well, yeah, do I think that there's room for both? Yes, there's absolutely room for both. But I think the world needs more Avengers and less Man of Steel right now. Being fun as punk rock. But yeah, no, it's my favorite. It's easily hands down my favorite. I think it's my favorite. I don't know. It's hard because I like Spider-Man. We're going to talk about Spider-Man, but I think it's my favorite MCU movie. Like, just nothing. There's been a couple of moments where it's replicated that feeling I got of being like, yeah, this takes me back to being a kid again. Like, truly. It was a surreal experience. Just being like, yeah, man, I could never picture this as a kid. Like, to me, watching comic book stuff was like watching cartoons by myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it wasn't communal. Like that was. Like, that was such an event. It's hard to.
It was an experience.
Yeah, you TikTokers who just want to pick apart every single MCU movie don't appreciate, I think, what that was. I like a lot of these kids are like, they're like 17, 18, They just don't know what it was like in the before time, when all we had was Spider-Man 3, or like, you know, yeah, or X-Men First Class, not X-Men First, or X-Men 3, you know,
Yeah.
Blade, like you don't Fantastic Four, when the Fantastic Four movies were the best we could hope for.
Ben Affleck Daredevil. Like, you guys don't know what the before time, where you're like, oh, like the costume looks good. The costume looks good. That's it. That's all. It's just the
Wow,
costume
the costume looks good. This isn't
It's
really.
it's like kids nowadays who like they have good video game movies. They didn't grow their Mario. They had a very different experience going to watch the Mario movie than I did.
Right? Yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly. Like, not to get on a tangent, but just, yeah, very much. Like, so many people who pick apart the Mario movie, it's like, it looks like the thing. Like, you people are taking for
Just
granted the fact
shut
that
up.
it looks like the thing. You don't understand how low a bar it looking like a thing. Like, they didn't try to take, like, I don't know. Maybe that's a wild and hot take, but like, it's really frustrating when it's like, oh, we're trying to put our own. I think you've complained about this, but I'm discovering I'm also developing a hate for it. Of like, we need to do a weird art house version of this character where we do our own weird spin on it. No, I just want it to look like the thing. And this
Sometimes
looks like the thing.
sometimes it's okay for the thing to just look like the thing. I don't need a weird, artistic, stupid take on the thing. Like I don't need like
Captain America to go Hulk smash and then Hulk smashes. I don't want it to be some dissertation on why Hulk should smash.
No, yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's the Avengers. Quality movie. One of my favorites. Hey there, everybody. It's Endcard Justin here. Let me know down in the comments, what's your favorite MCU movie? Is it the Avengers like me, or is it some other movie? Let me know down in the comments down below. But if you would like to see the full episode that this podcast is from, our More Marvel special, where we talked about all kinds of Marvel stuff from Spider-Man to Iron Man to whatever, you click the box on the left. Or if you want to see a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, you click the box on the right. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We put new videos out every single day. Or you could just hit like. That helps us out as well. We will see you all in the next video, everybody. Have a good day.